Hey kids, welcome back to SoliTV. I bet you thought my segment was canceled. I was actually suspended for a week after getting in a fight with my boss. A week's suspension with no pay sounds like a great idea until you run into your landlord at the grocery store. With that being said, today we're here to talk about color grading, color correction, all that kind of stuff and what goes into that process. When you're shooting something and you're planning on doing some color grading afterwards, it's still really important to get your settings right in your camera in terms of color temperature and exposure. If your image is too dark or too bright, you can only do so much to really fix any places that are underexposed or peaking in terms of overexposure. And if you're shooting something outside and your white balance is set to tungsten, your footage is gonna look really, really blue, and you can only push that back to normal so far. If the settings are right in the camera, you're gonna have a lot more flexibility in terms of what you can do when you're color grading it.
Oh yeah, so much better.
Now when you're starting to do color grading or color correction, it's really important to know what a color wheel is. So when you're looking at a color wheel, what I find really helpful is knowing the opposites of the color spectrum. When I'm looking at some footage that might be a little too blue, the way you make up for that is adding some orange to the image. Just pulling the image from the blue side of the spectrum to the orange side, and that's gonna even the image out. Also, when you're using LED lights, sometimes the LED light might be a little bit green. So the way you fix that is by pushing it towards magenta, and that evens that out. So when you know the opposite colors on the color wheel, it can really help you in terms of fixing an image that was shot with an off-white balance. Now when you want to get creative in your color grading, it's good to use a color wheel so that you know exactly what combinations work well with each other. Knowing, for instance, that orange complements blue can really help you create a visually appealing image in your video or your film. And it's good to know not only is it visually appealing to you, but scientifically on the color wheel, these colors complement each other. And there's other color schemes you can use as well that's really gonna help you create a unique look. So when I'm color grading my image, I like to use something called Lumetri Color within Premiere Pro. And what I like about Lumetri Color is that you have some basic control over how dark you want your darkest areas in the shot to be and how bright you want your bright areas to be. And I like this because it gives you more control over the amount of contrast you have in your image. And beyond that, I like to use 3 color wheels in order to control the colors that are coming in on the darkest parts of the shot, the brightest parts of the shot, and then the midtones. And so if I want to create a look where I'm using a complementary color scheme like blue to orange, what I can do is I can set the shadows of this particular shot to go down towards blue. And that's gonna make the darkest areas of the shot bluer. And now what I wanna do is set the highlights to be more orange. So that's gonna bring the brightest spots of the shot more orange. And this can create a look that you actually see a lot in Hollywood films nowadays. This is how you can do that.
We'll always love you.
Well, that does it for today, kids. I hope you learned a thing or two. If not, maybe you should try paying attention or taking notes. Until next time, I'm O with SoliTV.